I've had ups and downs, peaks and valleys, but I learned a long time
Mm.
ago fishing, if your mental game isn't there, just stay home. Because I've gone through some things. I've been on the water for tournaments with other things going through my head, and you'll just put your rod down and sit there because there's no point in
Mhm.
fishing if you're not going to concentrate. You're gonna ruin your best areas you're trying to fish because your head's in another place.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Kayak Bass Connection Podcast. This is where we connect the people and the events of the kayak fishing community. So today's episode is going to be with established tournament angler David Brooke. Now, I initially asked Dave to come on the podcast to talk about overcoming adversity, something I know he's done a lot in his fishing career. In nearly 200 tournaments, he has amassed an incredible top 10 finish rate. We'll talk about that in the first part of the podcast. We do cover the topic of adversity pretty well, but then we go on to talk about how also he's adapted his own tournament series, the Catch Photo Release Series, to work around some of the obstacles put up by some state regulations. He's done that in a way that satisfies the state and also kept the tournament series alive and well. We also get into a lot of discussion about equipment and strategy. So it's just an overall great discussion for anyone interested in kayak fishing. So without further ado, let's get to the interview. All right, welcome, David Brooke. Thanks for taking the time, Dave, to sit down with us. We're actually recording this on a bright and early summer morning. Thanks for changing your schedule around on the weekend and working this in.
Oh, not a problem. Not like I have a kayak here right now anyway.
Oh, you don't you don't have a kayak to do anything with right now,
No, no, it's well, I have one down in Pekin still with my
huh? Oh yeah.
trailer. I've got one at Catch right now. I've got one at stores, but I don't have my trailer. So
Uh, yeah, so you're kind of grounded
a
at home
little
right
bit.
now. So, yeah. Well, what the reason I reached out to you, and the reason I was so happy you agreed to do an interview is that, just through social media, you're very active on social media. I've kind of seen that you've dealt with a lot of issues that have tried to keep you from being successful and overcome a lot of issues over the years. And I think that's fascinating. The one thing that I've become more and more aware of every year is the mental part of being successful
Oh
in
yeah.
well, just life, but certainly in fishing. And I was hoping we could talk about that a little bit this morning. First of all, for those, I know you're very well known in kayak tournament circles. Could you just give a little introduction for those of you that might have not met you before?
Yeah, I've been kayak fishing. Oh, I want to say 5 years, maybe six now. I'd have to look back.
Okay.
Um, I'm director of Catch Photo Release. I've been on Team New Canoe for about 4 years. Kistler. I'm the team captain for Catch Product, Catch Outdoors, and
Okay.
I love fishing. I just travel too much sometimes.
So where's your home base at?
I'm in Gardner, Illinois, which is well, it's a town of about 1,500 people, so it's pretty small. Probably
Yes.
North Joliet, about a half hour south of Joliet.
Yes, you're kind of in the northern third or so of Illinois, the
Yeah,
southern end of the northern third of Illinois. What are you, an hour south of Chicago, probably?
yeah, about an hour.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, fantastic. So I didn't realize that you were the one running the catch photo release tournament. So uh, later we'll have to get into that so you can maybe expose some of the viewers to that idea. It's a really neat tournament series that you got going on there. Um, so you said I looked at your bio for the Turning X, and you're understating your uh, success a little bit on in kayak fishing. I was blown away, quite frankly, when I looked at looked at the stats.
I I
Uh,
haven't looked at it in a while.
yeah. So here you go. Let me throw these at you. So Dave's commit. He's been in 197 tournaments on Tourney X. So Lord knows there's more than that probably. Um, Weighed in or measured in over 873 fish. But here's the part that just blows my mind. You've got out of that 197 tournaments, you've got 144 top tens. 144 top tens. 28 wins. So to say that you've been tournament fishing for a few years is really not doing yourself justice. But you've been a fantastic tournament fisherman for those years. So can you kind of give us a background? You know, I saw your post over last week, and you had some issues that happened right before the latest tournament at Banner Marsh.
Oh man,
And
yeah. That was a rough one. I got off work Friday, came home, got my trailer, everything was ready to go, hit the road. I wasn't sure if I was crashing in the boat ramp parking lot, or if I was going to the hotel and hook up with a couple guys. But yeah, I got probably about 100 miles into my drive, and I noticed my temperature gauge was doing something weird. So pulled right off the highway, pulled in the gas station, popped the hood, and there's steam everywhere. So, all right, well, maybe I blew a hose or something. You know, it
yeah,
happens. I've put
yeah.
in 3 years, I've put 130,000 miles on that truck. So it's bound to
Wow.
happen sooner or later. So it was thermostat housing was cracked. So
Oh
got a hold of
goodness.
I got a hold of one of my good friends back home at Joe Fishing, and he's like, Dave, there's no
Hmm.
Riley's 2 miles from you. So it's like 8:30, and they close at 9. So
Oh.
I pull the thermostat out, bolt it back together real quick, get to O'Reilly's, it's still overheating, buy all the new
Hmm.
parts. I'm like, all right. Well, I put out on social media what was going on. So my buddy Jake Schultz, who happens to live 5 minutes from me, was about 10 minutes behind me on the highway. So he pulled off and found me right away.
Great.
Get everything put back together, start driving again, and boom, starts overheating again.
Hmm.
So I'm sitting here in Pekin, Illinois, 100 miles from home. I have my trailer with me. I have all my gear. No mechanic shops are open. Uh, I got a hold of Susie, and I just interviewed her the other day.
Yes. Great.
I've
Great. Great lady.
I met Susie. Oh, I think I was still fishing out of my first kayak, so probably 5 years ago. Uh, she got out of bed, came over with her truck, hooked up to my trailer, grabbed half my gear. My buddy Jake grabbed the other half of my gear. Susie took me home, gave me a place to stay for the night. Her and her husband are great. I stayed at their house a couple times now.
Awesome.
Um, Called my mechanic back home, and he came at, I think he texted me at 1:30 in the morning. He was there with a trailer picking up my truck,
Wow.
towed it back home, so 200 miles round trip. You don't want to know about that tow bill. It wasn't cheap.
Yeah.
So then got back to Susie's. I don't know. I think me and her, we maybe got 2 or 3 hours sleep apiece. And my plan was not to fish Johnson Lake.
Hmm.
I knew what lake I was fishing. I knew where I was fishing. I had it all set in my head, but we threw Susie's kayak on my trailer, so we had the double. I said, well, Susie, wherever you're going, I guess I'm going. And the funny thing was, I didn't think about it. When we packed up, I left all my electronics in my truck because
Ooh.
I run dual 9-inch Garmin's. One's using my map and side imaging. One's got all my down imaging. So I get on the lake. Well, this is nice. I have no idea where I'm going. I've been on this lake once in my life. So we take off, and Susie's running that Newport. So she's running probably like 4 miles an hour.
Yeah, she's gone.
And I'm behind her with my motor guide running about 3.7. I look back behind us, there's nobody behind us. And I'm
Hmm.
looking around like, I think I remember this lake. I pull out my phone, I'm looking at Google Maps, I'm zooming in. I'm like, all right, if I go up here and I turn here, and pretty sure there's some lily pads here, I can cut through to get here. Oh, it was a mess.
Oh, yeah, that lake's like a maze too.
And what was funny was that morning when we got there, Darren was parked next to us. Darren goes, well, here's my plan. I'm following Brooke. I said, you don't want to follow me on this lake, man. I said, I don't know this lake. So I get to the area 100 yards from where I'm going to start fishing, and it comes into a little V. So I was like, I'm going to work this a little bit. So I got there, I think lines was 5:15. I got to like 5:18. And I started working it, and I hear something. I look over. Here comes Darren. I said, I thought you were joking about that. He goes, I was. He goes, you're going the same place I am just because remember Crossroads was there last year.
No.
Well, I had given them advice on where I would go if I was fishing that lake. They came back on me, I guess. So
Good memory.
yeah, yeah. So Darren went in to where I was going to start. And I waited about 10 minutes, and then I went in there. I pulled in there. You had to paddle through all of it because the motor was not going to go through it. And I get in there, catch a 17 and a quarter, I think, right away. So, all right, this ain't bad. So I'm paddling around. So I drop the motor. See Darren coming. He goes, well, I got two. You guys see, I got one. And what happened was I cast it out. I'm working on backlash. So I'm throwing weightless single all day. So I'm working on the backlash, working on it. Finally get worked out and bring it up. I'm just talking to Darren. put my rod up and it's bent all the way over. He goes, how's it going? No, it's not stuck in the weeds. And I pull a little bit more, like, oh, that's a head shake. Never mind, that's a head shake. And that was a 19 and a quarter. It was kind of nice,
Nice.
Darren's like, he's been really good the past few years. So I got a selfie somewhere I took, and I took a selfie with the fish, but I spun around just to make sure he was right behind me for it.
Oh, awesome. Yeah.
But
Yeah. Great guy.
then,
He's given me some good advice in the past as well.
that guy carries a tackle store on his kayak. Like, I carry, and my friends go to make jokes. I have the Dave Cave here. I've got more tackle than most big shops around here. But when I go out of town, I'll pack most of it in my truck and just totes and totes. But at the ramp or the hotel, I'll pick out what I know I'm going to use, what I think I might use, and that's all that goes with me. Darren just takes it all. Like, I've watched him pull out bins and just going through it.
Yeah, he's in Titan or Slayer, I think. But yeah, there's little tackle hanging out the sides. But he slays them, man. He puts them in the boat every turn.
That's when I was talking to him, and I ran to him again later. He's like, yeah, I only got 4 still. I'm like, I'm looking at the leaderboard all day, and I was in first. And so Susie, I think it was like 9 o'clock, Susie passed me. And then, yeah, that'll work. I'll sit in second. I forget some guys don't like to upload during the day. Some guys blame service, but I know Banner. You will always have service at Banner.
Yeah.
It is. It's fun watching the leaderboard on a live tournament for the smaller tournaments for me. When I fish the big, like the KPR Trail Series, I won't look at the leaderboard all day because it'll screw with your head.
Yeah. People are playing games with it.
Yeah. Like, there was Lake Erie a few years ago. I took third out of 104, 103, something like that. I didn't look at the leaderboard all day. I knew I was doing decent when Duke showed up with the camera to film me. So I might be doing, and then my phone was going off in my pocket. It's, hey, keep grinding. Hey, keep doing what you're doing. I'm like, all right. So I'm probably sitting in the top 20.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting to end up in third place, but
that's pretty impressive.
It was a good day. But yeah, back to Banner. So I grounded out and they shut the leaderboard off like 11, I think. So then I'm getting text messages again from everybody. My brother, he calls me every time he knows I'm fishing tournament. He calls me during the day. And I'll wear one earbud fishing. So what? Last year I caught a lot of big fish on the phone with him. And he's talking. I'm like, Jay, I gotta go. I gotta take a picture. But yeah, I just kept grinding out. And then after the cameras went, or the leaderboard went down, I think I got 18 and an 18 and a quarter, something like that. I know I was able to cull a 14 for an 18. So yeah, in the end, I ended up taking fourth place, which I'll take it after the weekend I was having.
Yeah, and I just looked at the numbers, you were a half inch out of third place. Susie actually beat you by, I think it was a half inch.
Yeah.
So, yeah, very
Susie's
close.
the banner. She's the banner queen.
Oh, yeah.
I told Josh back when he made the schedule, I messaged him, and I told him, so you going to open up to all of Banner or just the main lakes? Because I'm being honest with you, if you open up to all of Banner, it's going to be me, Susie, and Cody somewhere in top 3.
Just let you know.
My best day there was 98 inches last year, and
wow,
I was off the water by noon because it got so hot. I was getting so dehydrated. I just went home. But he's like, no, I think we'll do main lakes. I agree with that. It'll keep it a lot more fair for the whole playing field. And it was. It was a good time.
Yeah, it was. It was a good tournament, no doubt.
So after that, we got back to the ramp and had to pack all of my gear into Jake Schultz's truck with his gear. And he was nice enough to drive me, 110 miles home.
Yeah, Jake's an awesome guy. Yeah.
It was a pretty interesting weekend.
Yeah. Well, it's as much as you wouldn't want to have those troubles, trying to get to the tournament, it certainly made the whole thing more memorable.
Yeah, it's I learned. I've had ups and downs, peaks and valleys, but I learned a long time ago fishing. If your mental game isn't there, just stay home. Because I've gone through some things. I've been on the water for tournaments with other things going through my head, and you'll just put your rod down and sit there. Because there's no point in fishing if you're not going to concentrate. You're gonna ruin your best areas you're trying to fish because your head's in another place, and you're not gonna present the bait right. You're not gonna work the area properly. But
yeah, when you find yourself that you're at that frustration level, or you've got other things in your head, I mean, what do you do to kind of get get yourself back on track at that point?
Sometimes I just put everything down and I turn music on. I listen to music usually almost all day when I'm fishing. Uh, I think it was my first 60 tournament was at Newton.
Mhm.
I think it was Newton a couple years ago, and I was out there and I had earbuds on, the whole headset on,
Yeah.
and Ryan came up behind me. I think we might be the same Chris, but Ryan came up behind me. I didn't hear him coming, and he got next to me. It scared me so bad I almost threw my rod in the lake. So after that, I was like, all right, I'm going to earbuds now. I'm wearing one.
Yeah. Yeah. What kind of music do you like to listen to? Upbeat stuff or something that calms you, or some or
Yeah.
more calming?
People get a kick out of this. So I listen to almost all kinds of music. I don't listen to that heavy metal, death stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
the biggest thing I listen to is I don't even know what the genre is anymore. It's country rap. Ryan Upchurch, Adam Calhoun, Jelly Roll.
Okay. Okay.
It's just Jelly Roll. I can relate to so many of his songs. Like I start listening to him, like yeah, that's my life. Just you got
Yeah.
to put it out of your head and keep going.
Yeah. I'm a traditional country music guy. I know I've heard a few songs from some of those artists. So what is it that makes you relate so well to people like Jelly Roll? Because I know a little bit of his background, but
Like Jelly Roll, yeah,
yeah.
it's you're going through struggles in life, and he pushes
Mm.
on no matter what. I mean, you look at his upbringing. I just watched a podcast interview with him a day or two ago
Nice.
Bert Kreischer, and he was in and out of prison since he was 13. I was never in prison or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
He had nothing, and he built himself up to where he is now. And like it's you have to think about when you're on the water sometimes too. It's like okay, it's 9 o'clock. I have one fish. Your hardest fish to catch is your first fish and your last fish. They say when you're going on a limit. And 3 hours in, you got one fish. You got to just get your
Mhm.
mind right and focus on 12-inch fish if you have to. I Other than the tournaments that I signed up for and ended up skipping because of personal reasons or work,
Mhm.
I think it's been 3 years since I didn't have a limit at a tournament. Because I'll go
That's
in and if I'm
incredible.
not getting bit, I will focus on. I'll get a 12-inch fish. I have to get a limit today. Just how it works.
So what do you do to refocus to target 12-inch fish? Are you
Uh,
going more to smaller
Smaller
baits or what?
baits, just smaller baits.
Okay.
And you'll know if you're on them, like especially if you're throwing weightless Senko or even if I'm flipping a craw, because when you
Hmm.
feel the bite, well, some people say you can feel with little fish. I've thought before like a bluegill. I'm like, as I go to pop it out of his mouth, it's a 4 pounder. So you can't always feel with a little fish, but like if you set hook and you're just missing one craw or half your Senko's ripped off, it's like, all right, I'm gonna go to a smaller Senko or I'll go to a Ned, which I try very hard not to throw. I don't even carry a spinning rod with me.
Yeah, a lot of lakes that we fish in Illinois, especially in the summertime, there's a lot of vegetation. Ned rigs are challenged.
I was talking to a guy. I took a break mid morning, just cruised around the lake, just fishing spots I've never seen before. And I was talking to a guy in a new canoe. He just got his XI3, and I was talking to him. He's like, "Man," he goes, "I can't wait to fish a lake that doesn't have weeds in it." So it's almost all I fish is lake with weeds.
Yeah, that was probably Kevin, right? Kevin, I
It
think.
might have
Yeah,
been he
I think.
lives down by Devil's Kitchen, I think.
Yes, that's him.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah,
I'm
he just
horrible with
get.
names. Like I'll meet
Oh
guys in
yeah.
the water, I won't remember anything.
Yes, I'm the same way, and it's sort of some of the reason I kind of started this podcast, just so we could get some of those personalities out there, so people would know each other's names and faces when on the water. Because the whole name Kayak Bass Connection is more about fish. It's more about people than anything else, and I think that's your story is a testament to that connection. Is that you know I've never been involved in the boat world, and I'm not here to criticize anybody that does those tournaments. They do an incredible
I
job,
can.
but it's, from what everybody tells me, it is a different relationship with your competitors,
It is 100%.
and I think
Um,
that good.
I came from the boat world. Um, I tournament boat fished 15 years before I switched to a kayak. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'll jump in a boat with some guys once in a while, but I've been to those tournaments and they don't care. Like, and I'm not gonna say everybody doesn't care. I have a group of guys. It's a private club, Joe Fishing. We're tight knit. I'm the only kayaker in the
Okay.
whole group,
Oh yeah.
and yeah, and they make fun of me sometimes. But then I'll get a text, "Hey, can we take your extra kayak out sometime?" Yeah, let me know.
Yes.
But and to this day, like I went last night to the local high school. They're going to Lake Hartwell. They're actually on their way right now for nationals.
Outstanding.
So and I forgot all about the fundraiser, and I ran to a kid at the store yesterday, and I was like, "Oh man,
Mhm.
I'm supposed to do something this weekend." I pulled up on Facebook. I'm like, "Oh, they're their fundraiser. They were trying to raise, I think, $5,500. Guarantee you, they raise more than that.
Nice.
It's just
Nice.
one team going down there. My dog's trying to figure out who I'm talking to over here. It's kind of hilarious.
He thinks it's you. I
And
have to
she's like,
lock my
"Why?"
door. My
She's like,
dog
"You're
will come in
talking,
here.
but you're not looking at me."
Yeah. Shouldn't you be helping me or something?
But yeah, they're on
Good.
the road now. It's like, and I used to coach another local high school team for 4 years. My daughter, when she was a freshman, she came home, and
Mhm.
I work in oil refineries, so I could be working an 8-hour shift. I could be working a 12-hour shift.
Oh, yeah.
And I got home one day, so she's 21 now, so she's going back a little bit. I came home from work, sat on my recliner. Excuse me. She goes, "Dad, so we have a fishing team this year." I'm like, "Oh, that's great. You signed up?" She goes, "Well, yeah, because she's been tournament fishing with me since she was 12.
Oh, wow.
And I'll put some pictures up, but once in a while, I'll share my memories of her in the back of the boat. But
Mm,
I was like, "Oh, that's
nice.
great. And you signed up?" She's like, "Yeah." She goes, "But we don't have a coach." And I'm just
Oh.
sitting there staring at the TV
Oh, just let that
because
hang.
at the time I had a bass boat,
Yeah,
and
okay.
I'm watching TV, and she's just sitting there. And then it was my ex-wife when we were still married. She looks at her, she goes, "Yeah,
Mm.
we talked about it. We think you should do it." I was like, "So we'll be straight. On top of my work life, my tournament fishing life, you want me to coach high school kids?"
Yeah.
And ultimately, it was I was getting ready to leave for national championship in Shreveport, and I had to go interview with the principal. So this is kind of awkward.
Yeah.
So I would have sat down in his office and said, "Look, I didn't bring a resume or anything. I can give you my Facebook page, my average day of outdoors. You can just look me up. I don't know what to tell you." I said, "I fish, yes." He's like,
Mm.
"We already talked about it. You're hired." So, okay.
Yeah.
But
Fantastic. So how many years did you do that?
all 4 years she was in high school, and then
Okay.
I did 1 year after she graduated. And
Yeah.
then COVID came, and a lot of things changed in life, and I had to stop doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's awesome what's going on now in the high school scene with fishing. And if that would have been available when I was in school, oh my gosh, I probably would have got better grades just to keep it eligible for the bass
Yeah,
fishing team. Uh,
I might have went to school more.
yeah, exactly. Um, so you've had a lot of life experience. So what brought you to the kayak scene? You said you mentioned that you did a lot of boat tournaments before that.
So yeah, I ended up hooking up with. I've known Alan Wiedemeyer. I met him when I was still in a boat, and I think he was a bank fishing at the time. We were fishing a local club that allowed bank fishing, boat fishing, kayak, whatever.
Okay.
And then I know somewhere along the line he got into kayak fishing. One day I was like, "Man, I kind of want to do the kayak thing because where I live by Mazonia, it's similar to Banner Marsh. It's strip mines, but you only have a few lakes you can get to with a boat ramp. Some I walk 45 minutes on a cart to get to the lakes."
Fine.
So one day I was at work. I was like, "Oh, you know what?" So I go online, go to Dick's Sporting Goods.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh, look, I can get that lifetime sit on top kayak for $300. So I bought it.
Yeah.
Uh, And I think at the time, KBL was doing a monthly, your best three fish for them. It was 2 or 3 weeks or a month. I think it might have been 2 weeks.
Okay.
So I was like, "Oh, I'm going to sign up for that because that's the only thing you can sign up not being a member." And I went to my local lake, and Dusty Yacker, he started the name of this lake as Heart Attack Lake because it's uphill, downhill the whole way there. And the
Oh wow.
first time I took him there, he took his Hobie on a cart.
A
And we
Hobie
had,
on it. Wow.
yeah, I usually you're making one walk, and we had to stop
Uh,
about 4 times. I thought he was having a heart attack on me.
oh. Oh
But
man.
so I went to this lake. It was overcast, starting to rain, and the free fish limit, I put up like 60.5 inches that day. So I had a
Wow.
couple of weeks to put up my limit, and I did that. I was like, "I kind of like this kayak thing." I also
Yeah.
had to text. I think I texted Alan, doing like, "How do you pee?" He's like, "You just stand up and pee." I said, "I can't stand up in this thing. Are you kidding me?"
I'm gonna die. Yeah.
So I think it
That's
was only,
good.
yeah, I think it was only 2 months later I bought a Malibu 14-foot kayak. Um,
Okay.
it was I could stand in that one. It actually had a bait well in front of me because it's an ocean kayak. Well, if you pull the plug, it fills with water, which is nice for your
Mhm.
bait. But I learned that I can bump my fish, take a picture, throw the fish in there, close it, and check my pictures, which was kind of nice too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you have them built in line well. Nice.
So I did that. I want to say it was 2017, and then
Okay.
I fished that to the end of the season, and then I think I was at the Chicago Fishing Show. I ended up buying a new canoe,
Hmm.
my first pursuit, and it's good. Went from there. I've run Torpedoes, I've run rear troll motors. Now I run Motor Guide XI3s.
Yeah. Have you had a torpedo in the back of a pursuit?
I did, but it was not the regular Torpedo. This is
Hmm.
before they had the. This is one.
I mean,
I
that's just
forget what it was. It was. I had Frankenstein it a little bit. It was a
yeah, okay.
tiller Torpedo, but I
Okay.
took it all apart, reran the wires. I had a top speed of 8.5 miles an hour.
Yeah. I mean, that's just
I
a
have
fast boat anyway. So
I have a video somewhere. I couldn't turn. You could run straight, but if you try
really,
turning, wasn't
yeah,
going to
forget.
happen.
Yeah,
And then we
yeah.
went
That
down. Go
yeah.
ahead.
Pursuit was my first real good kayak. Fished out of that for a couple of years, and I'd have one today if I could find a bargain on one. I moved over to an old town a couple of years ago, but the new canoe was definitely a good boat. A lot lighter. I'll give them that. I could carry it on a
Yeah,
cart,
I helped somebody.
whatever.
I helped somebody load an old town into a bed of a truck last year. I was like, oh, these are pretty heavy.
Yeah, they're tanks. Yeah. Um,
But
so yeah, and I think when I first met you there at Weldon Springs State Park, I think you might have had a Frankenstein because I think you had, if I remember
I
right,
had
you
a
had
rear mount.
a pedal
It was
system or more. No, it wasn't a pedal. It was a
I had a
joystick.
joystick. Yep.
Yeah.
I tin welded a joystick. I ran two cables back to a T on top of the motor so I could
Hmm.
steer. I took the head off the motor and mounted it underneath my seat so I could adjust my speeds.
Yeah, that's pretty slick. Pretty
It did the
slick.
job.
Yeah. So as far as new folks, I mean, it sounds like you've been in this industry. So you're with Team New Canoe now. You with Catch Outdoors and things of that nature. So uh, you probably run into a lot of people that are in the spot you were when you first thought about getting into kayak fishing.
All the time.
So so if I come up to you and I say, hey, I've been fishing on the bank. I'm ready to get off the bank, or I'm tired of making payments on my $80,000 bass boat. I'd like to try out kayaks. What kind of advice or what kind of question do you usually get into
The
with folks?
first the first I usually tell people, if you could find somebody with different kayaks, try them out before you buy anything. If you're going to buy a $300 kayak or a $2,000 kayak, always try to get in one before you buy one. Um, I don't regret buying my $300 kayak. Uh, $300 was lost. I mean, I sold it for 150 bucks to get rid of it, but
Yeah.
there's so many kayaks out there for $1,000 that are reliable, stable, safe. Always wear a PFD. I got a story for auto inflatables that I'll never wear another one. Um,
Share
and
that
you
with
don't
us
have
if
to
you
go
would,
all
because
in.
that's something that I thought about a lot. Matter of fact, I had one in my hand yesterday at a Bass Pro Shops, and I set it down. If you don't
I
mind,
always
get into
ran,
that.
yeah, I always ran auto inflatables when I was running bass boats because you're taking off a kill switch all the time. It's easier because every time you run the motor, you have to wear it and then you take it off.
Mm-hmm.
So I always wore that kayak fishing. And I was at Mazonia. There's a video on my Average Day Outdoors page. I'd have to find it where I just getting out of the lake. Um, I was standing kind of sideways, flipping weeds, and I got a really good bite. When I set hook, I missed the fish, so I stumbled backwards, and then I
Oh,
stumbled forward and face planted the lake. Well, it's similar to Banner Marsh. It's all weeds. I think I hit about 8 feet down, and I'm kicking my legs in the weed before it went off.
oh,
And I wasn't thinking about trying to pull a string or anything. I was trying to kick my legs to get up. But then
mm-hmm.
when the auto flitter finally went off and sucked me to the top, I'm like, wow, what if that wouldn't have went off?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So ever since that day, I bought a Chinook. I think the next week, the Underwrist Chinooks, and that's all I wear now.
Yes, I've worn the same life jacket, but the thing with I've done a lot of work with in stress management and training people in stressful situations how to perform, and I can tell you that the way the human brain works is not how we think it works
Mm-mm.
in high stress, and when you think you're going to be able to, as you're sinking or you're entangled, and you think you're going to have the cognitive ability to pull a cord, good chance you won't.
No, and
until you're in trouble.
I I once set one off accidentally on a hook set. The pull cord was right here, and I set hook,
Mm-hmm.
my butt pulled it, and I heard this noise hissing. I'm like, what is that? I was like, poof, going off. So
Yeah.
then I got in the habit of tucking that pull cord inside my life jacket all the time, out of my way. So
Oh
if you're
yeah.
underwater, you're trying to find it to pull it. And then I'm depending on a CO2 cartridge that may or may not go off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It
after
is
that, I'm
meant.
like, and auto inflators are what? Anywhere between $60 and $300 now. You can get a nice Chinook
Mhm.
with pockets, everything for $100.
Yes. Yeah, and you know what? It's those things they're mechanical devices, and if somebody's using one and they feel comfortable with it, that's great. But you're relying upon a mechanical device that humans made to fire to save your life, and yeah, I'll pass. I've seen enough of those fail, you know.
Yeah,
So definitely. So I'm sorry to interrupt, but go ahead with your advice. You said number one was to try out a boat before you buy
yeah,
it. Second's the PDF,
demo. Yeah, PDF
and
is
you.
safety all the time. And then it's even if you're a bank fisherman, uh, you don't have to spend a fortune on rod and reels either. Um, I
Mhm.
fish with guys that every one of their reels is at least $400 or $500.
Good.
Um, I fish my loos; they're anywhere between 100. I got some that are about 300, but I've also got like 18 or 20 of them. But you don't need the top end everything. And
Yeah.
I guess it comes back to what that Brandon Polnick always says: "Kiss, keep it simple, stupid." You don't have to spend a ton of money to get into the sport. Like I said, I got in for $300 at the time. I think a $25 Illinois sticker for I had a kayak,
Yeah.
which was bad, but
Yeah. That's a great advice that I know it's sometimes it's hard to keep that keep it simple, stupid mantra. Whenever you've got people saying, "No, you got to have this, you got to have this, you got to have this, you got to have this," and a lot of those folks are in it for the money, right? You're watching commercials and they convince you have to have all that extra gear, and then you see guys go out with two poles and a paddle and a $300 kayak and win a tournament.
oh yeah, like I fished with one pole all day at Vandermarsh. I mean, I threw some other ones, never got bit on, so I could have stuck with one rod all day and
Yeah.
finished the same. I might have finished better if I would have switched up baits, but
Yeah, I don't know how many of the 3700 series boxes I have in the back of the kayak that I don't crack most of the time. You don't even open them.
I usually have one that has a couple extra jackhammers, a couple extra frogs, stuff like that, and then I have the battle box totes,
Mm-hmm.
the little cans. But on my Pursuit, I have the drawer in the
Yeah.
front, so I took that battle box apart and I separate everything inside that drawer. So I just
Okay,
slide the
that
drawer.
makes
Okay, I
sense.
need this hook. There's my stop. There's my weight.
Yeah, yeah, and that kayak's built well for that. It's awesome. So let's kind of talk about your tournament series that you run, the catch photo release. Everyone's heard catch photo release as a technique. Matter of fact, first time I heard about your tournament, one of the fellow anglers said, "Oh, I'm fishing a catch photo release tournament," and I said, "Oh, next weekend." I said, "Oh, what's?" And I'm like, "What series?" He's like, "It's catch photo release series."
Yeah, catch
Makes a
with a
lot of
K.
sense. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So go ahead and tell us about
So
that.
when we first started doing it a few years ago, we had 5 specific lakes or areas in the state, and we'd
Mm-hmm.
rotate every week where we were.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a choice between Thursday through Monday when you sign up. Pick one of those days, and you have the tournament hours to fish that. So for blue collar guys or guys that work odd hours, it works great. And until last year, when Illinois started their new policy of if you have a tournament of a specific body of water, you have to pay 10% to the state and all this stuff. Well, Duke and I sat down, we talked about it for a while, and we read the rules, and I contacted DNR. This specific body of water is what requires
Yeah.
that permit and that 10%. So Illinois is broke up into 5 regions. So we said, all right, you can fish anywhere in the region.
So
So
these
you're
are
not,
these IDNR regions?
yep, it's on
Okay.
the
Yeah, I'm
website.
familiar with those. Yeah.
So
Okay.
you're not a specific lake now. You're an entire region, no permit required, no 10%. So we're able,
Nice.
after PayPal and Charting X fees, we're able to pay back 100%. We haven't made a dime in 3 years doing this. I
Good.
mean, we've sold a lot of catch boards because of it,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's it works out good. I actually have to catch up on some judging this afternoon. I've been behind my judges. I got a judge on vacation. I have a judge working overtime. I have a judge go through some family stuff. So it's like, all right, guys, I have a fishing events, so I'll catch up on the judging.
Catch up on. So is there a website people could go to or Facebook page that
Uh, there's a
somebody could go
Facebook
to?
page. Yeah, Facebook page, Catch Photo Release,
Okay.
and then
Is
all the
that with a
tournaments are
C or with a K?
with the K.
With a K. Okay.
Yeah, if you look up on Tourney it's under KPR,
Okay.
and it's $35, so not a high payout, but it's
Hmm.
for the guy who just wants to have fun. It's not to get rich or anything like that. It's just, I mean, there's guys like my buddy Leon. He's fished a whole bunch of them. He just enjoys
Hmm.
competing. He doesn't care about the money. He wants to compete.
Yeah, sure.
And it also
Sure.
gives him a reason to go try new places.
Absolutely. That's one of the reasons I love doing the tournaments is that it compels you to go fish when you probably wouldn't have gone fishing. It's
That's
like, hey,
that's what.
I've paid my entry fee. I got to go.
Yeah, it's back when I was married. I was like, hey, yeah, I got to go to this tournament this weekend. Like, I already paid. It gives me a reason to go check out a new lake I've never been to.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now with the regions, you probably explained this already. So the regions you have, does that rotate like every
Uh,
weekend? During...
yeah, every weekend rotates. It's
Okay.
northeast, south, south central, northwest, northwest
Okay.
and east central. We combined. I think it was no, two of them we combined this year. We had low numbers on both of them last year,
All
so I
right.
combined the two, so we get higher
Okay.
numbers to
Yeah.
share the money better.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
it's funny that every series, every time we used to run with the individual locations, just happened to be in a different region.
Ah.
So it's like Mizonia's in northwest, south was Newton, and then northeast is Banner Marsh. It just worked out that way.
Yeah. And, it's great because you're giving people options and you're complying with the new state bureaucracy
Yeah,
that they threw on top of all the tournament trails. So I like that. That's great. So if somebody's got a small state park somewhere that they're used to fishing and
as
they
long as
want
it's on
the
the ID on our website on that list, you can fish it.
okay, okay,
I've learned that
there's
there's
that.
lakes I didn't know existed.
Yeah, yeah. Illinois has more fishing opportunities than people might think in a prairie state.
Oh yeah,
There's a lot. So, all right, outstanding. So you said you also you're a captain of catch photo or catch team.
yeah, yeah. I've
How
been
did
with
you
Duke.
get?
I met Duke. Oh, I met him when the boars first came out, but we
Okay.
started hooking up and fishing together and hanging out. And he's like, oh, we should probably build a team. So
Yeah.
we should. And then we national championship. I think in Shreveport is when they had the team cup. So we put together a team for that, and then we just slowly built our team from there. But our team's not huge in numbers. We keep it
Mhm.
small. Try to focus on. We have people, Russ Snyder's, Cody Milton, Dusty Yacker,
Some
Eric Sadiki.
yeah, some heavy
But
hitters.
yeah, we keep it small, and you're not required to do a lot.
Hmm.
So we don't require you to go to shows and all that stuff.
Yeah, I know they do some fantastic videography. I haven't seen the videos lately, but I know they put out some really
Oh
good
yeah,
footage.
Vasily is great.
Mhm.
I've
Now,
filmed
who
with
is
him a
that
bunch
that
of
does their
times.
videos?
Vasily Grafikas
Okay.
is his name. His first time, I think, really filming was when we were at Lake Erie in Ohio,
Okay.
and he was in a Hobie and Duke was in a Hobie, and they were coming to film me. And he's coming in, and when I'm working down the bank, he's coming in, and Duke's like, "No, you got to back up. He's going to be fishing there in a minute." And then we
He's a
get to a point.
filmmaker, not a fisherman.
Exactly, he doesn't fish at
Yeah.
all. And then
Uh-huh.
he's at a point where he knows, hey, I have to stay back, I have to do this. But
Hmm.
you'll be sitting there fishing, not paying attention. Next you know, there's a drone 4 feet from you filming you.
Oh wow.
So like some of those
That's
videos, I think it was a crossroads at Newton. I was doing pretty decent after day one. So day two, after I got my limit, and he knew I needed to get my limit first, he came over. He's like, "All right, I'm going to strap one to your chest, and this, that, and the other, and you just got to hit this." I'm like, "Hey, what?"
man.
I was like, "Oh, this is really uncomfortable." Then I ended up culling one of my fish, and there's a screenshot and a video of it. Literally, when I set hook, you can see my rod bent all the way over.
Oh wow. Cool.
And then I'm fighting that fish, and then he's behind me filming it the whole time. So then he's got me with the net, and the fish splash over. I'm like, all right, I kind of like this now.
Yeah, different angles. I
Yeah.
bet that looked pretty good when they put it together. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Are those videos out there online somewhere?
they're all on YouTube on Catch Outdoors.
Okay. All right. Awesome. I have to check those out. All right. Well, I've taken up a lot of your time on Sunday morning, Dave. So anything else you want to mention? Any sponsors or anything like that before we get
Uh,
off today?
Obviously, everybody knows I run Dakota Lithium. Everybody knows
Mm-hmm.
Catch,
Mm-hmm.
Kistler rods, Venom
Okay.
lures.
All
Um,
right.
no, it's
Fantastic.
everybody that knows me knows what I run.
Yeah.
I don't want to
Exactly.
sound ignorant about it, but
Yeah. Yeah,
If you see my truck, it's wrapped in stickers. My kayaks are racked. I mean,
yeah. Well,
but
that's how I ended up introduced myself to you because I pulled into the ramp and I had seen some of your videos, average days outdoors videos, and all of a sudden I see this truck that's got a sticker on it that says average days outdoors. So that's fantastic. I thought just
well, that was
fantastic.
I think it was last year, Fourth Selling Weekend. I took Chad Hoover out. He was here up here doing his when he was traveling state to state.
That's right.
I
Awesome.
spent the whole weekend with him. Well, it was funny because I snuck in everything about outdoor